Negotiations are now underway in Egypt amid urgent pressure from the United States and regional actors to bring an end to the Gaza war. The stakes are immense. Palestinian hostages remain in captivity. Israel demands disarmament of Hamas, and regional stability hangs in the balance. In Tel Aviv, a US correspondent reported that President Trump is putting the pressure on all sides of these negotiations, insisting that the hostage release could happen within days and urging that speed is of the essence. He emphasized that delays could lead to further bloodshed. He said, the countries of the world, countries surrounding Israel, frankly, Muslims, Arabs, and many others, have had great meetings with Hamas. It looks like it's working. So we will wait for a little while, see how it all turns out. Pressed to forecast how quickly this might unfold, he added, I think it's going to go very quickly. The meeting seemed to be very good. We will find out. We will let you know soon. Yet, alongside this optimism, cautionary voices emerged. In the transcript, a speaker warned of obstacles ahead, attributing to what was described as a very tough second phase. What happens after that? Who is going to run Gaza moving forward? It can't be Hamas. It can't be a terror organization. The demobilization of terrorism in Gaza is the end goal here. That whole place has to be rebuilt. That's not going to happen in 72 hours or 6 weeks. That's going to take some time. According to the transcript, both sides are expected to make painful concessions, between 48 hostages being released alive and dead by Hamas and Israel, freeing up to 250 Palestinian prisoners serving life sentences, plus hundreds more detained during the conflict. But this is no simple swap. As one commentator in the script put it, the negotiations between Hamas and Israel are not yet the end of the war. During the studio discussion in the original, participants noted that October 7th is nearing, the 2-year anniversary of the October 2023 attack on Israel. The participants described how President Trump had reportedly called Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, and their exchange reportedly showed tension over optimism. One quipped about being chided for being too negative. Don't be negative. Don't be so negative. A core argument in the dialogue was that the president says we have to think big. We got to think about there is no alternative. They got to put down their guns and rescind all rights to run Gaza or West Bank or the Palestinian Authority. Yet Hamas, according to the transcript objects, Hamas says we want to keep our guns, put our rockets in storage. Another speaker underscored that the US must balance its diplomatic outreach in the broader Arab and Muslim world while securing Israel's acceptance. The president is balancing the regional peace, getting them to agree to this deal. That is unheard of, to get the full Muslim world and Arab world agree. But the speaker added a note of realism. Prime Minister of Israel, Hamas has shown no indication that they want to surrender. The guests also flagged US envoy Jared Kushner and Witkoff as being in Egypt to negotiate. They said the negotiations between Hamas and Israel are not yet the end of the war, one said, reinforcing that the deal under discussion would only be a beginning. One moment of surprise came when a panelist remarked, at a time when Israel is isolated, the President of the United States is popular in the Arab world, and he's the most popular politician bar none in Israel. He asked rhetorically, think about that. Another added a note about shifting incentives in the region. Saudi Arabia is changing the curriculum in a whole generation. I think the majority of these governments want to build their economies. While acknowledging anger over prior terror attacks, they said, something is changing. Be open to it. Returning to the peace process, one voice observed that the logistical details are daunting. Talks ongoing, hopefully finalised quickly. Good news, we are the closest in a very long time, having no hostages being held by Hamas, either living or deceased. That optimism was punctuated by a warning cited from a US official. Hamas agreed to the deal or face complete obliteration. The speaker insisted he's not kidding. A former US State Department official, referred to as Ellie, offered her analysis of the unfolding diplomatic maneuvering. She praised the coalition building around President Trump's so-called peace board, describing it as a diplomatic coup d'etat. She credited Trump with bringing together Sunni Arab states, Muslim nations, Israel, and European support to press Hamas to negotiate. She said, if there is one thing that there is agreement on, Hamas has no future in Gaza. She argued that the coalition is exerting tremendous amount of pressure on Hamas. Hamas is out of options, while acknowledging that Hamas is a terror organization. They are not going to give up quickly or easily, she remained hopeful. I am optimistic. that we are looking at a bright vision for Gaza and a pathway to normalization. In her view, the US-led coalition's insistence on disarmament and transition away from Hamas rule was central. She positioned this vision as lasting. He's talking about a peace for the times. For eternity, the conversation returned to power dynamics within Hamas. One speaker mentioned Khalil al-Hayya, identifying him as someone targeted in an attack in Doha and suggesting he might represent Hamas, though lacking full authority over Gaza's armed wing. He posed, "Does the Doha group have control of the fighters in Gaza?" He reasoned that if so, they can therefore put the pressure on the terrorists in Gaza, cut funding, and cut the funding forever. He insisted the militants in Gaza were now just out of options. The pressure is on them. Another guest, cited in the transcript, adopted a more cautious tone, pointing out that there is a lot of logistics behind any swap. He stressed that the Egypt negotiations are intended to establish conditions on the ground, Red Cross access, tunnel destruction, safe corridors, before any exchange occurs. You can't just say, here are the hostages and prisoners swap. He recalled that part of the current negotiation mandate is to pave the way for the release and to prepare for the broader demobilization of Hamas's infrastructure.